entered once for all into the sanctuary, not with the blood of goats and calves, but with his own blood, thus obtaining eternal redemption. Today is the feast of the most holy body and blood of Christ, popularly known under its Latin name, Corpus Christi. Our reading from the letter to the Hebrews today reminds us that Christ comes as the perfect high priest, fulfilling the Old Testament priesthood and offering a perfect sacrifice. Not one of animals, however, the goods of creation offered back to the Creator, but rather one of himself, as both, we would add, fully human and fully God. We also hear about this perfect sacrifice being one universally salvific offering. We see that in the phrase that he enters the sanctuary once for all. You know, in our society, we're not used to using sacrificial language all that often, so it can seem a little bit foreign to us. Yet the concept is very important. But too often, the concept of sacrifice in the Bible is caricatured as being connected with some mischaracterization of God as greedy and bloodthirsty, who seeks sacrifices and finds some joy in the slaughter of animals. But the point of sacrifice is not really that at all. In fact, it's not just living things that are offered to God in the temple. It seems, rather, that sacrifice is more about an acknowledgement that the good things that we have come from God, and the best of what's given to us by God ought to be dedicated to God's service. Now, the greatest gift from God is God himself. At the Last Supper, when Christ offers himself in the Eucharist, he turns the act of violence that he's about to undergo on the cross into an eternally redemptive sacrifice by making himself that which is offered, and in the process offering us a share in the body and blood that will be broken and poured out on the cross. The best of what humanity has to offer God is God himself become human. In the Eucharist, the one sacrifice of Christ is made present to us. And by receiving his presence, we unite ourselves to him in offering ourselves to God's service, in allowing him to be present in our lives as we carry that service out, and in anticipation of that promised eternal communion of heaven. Now, one important thing to remember here is that all of this happens through presence. At the Last Supper, Christ makes the sacrifice he's about to undergo on the cross already present in his offering of himself. And today, Christ makes himself and that sacrifice present to us in the Mass, in the celebration of the Eucharist. And we receive it by ourselves being present to him at Mass. The tangibility of the sacrament of the Eucharist, and all the sacraments really, makes it a unique, powerful, and rich way to taste the salvation that's offered to us in Christ. It's both a way of remembering Christ's sacrifice, making it and him present to us and nourishing us for our life in him, and anticipating an eternal future that's offered to us. It's the reason we call this sacrament the source and summit of our faith. So today, as we ponder the Eucharist as a gift, let's be thankful that, as this global pandemic starts to wane, we have uninhibited access to Christ's presence in the Eucharist. And let's do all that we can do to take advantage of that gift and not to take it for granted.